The devil is an enigmatic figure within human culture, but he's not alone in his evil. You have to remember, even in the pits of hell, there were other mighty ex-angels that became princes in their own right, with their own sinful domain. Just like there are 7 archangels, there are 7 princes of hell. These 7 princes were initially part of the group of angels that joined the devil's side against God. However, what's peculiar about these princes is that, like the archangels, they each represent a specific trait. These traits are the different types of sins. The 2 most known sources of these high-ranking demons are in Peter Binsfield's treatise on confessions by evildoers and witches, and the Lantern of Light text, which is often attributed to John Wycliffe. These 2 sources used the 7 deadly sins as the basis for their classification and linked them to the domain of each prince. In this video, as John Wycliffe states in the Lantern of Light, we will be going over each demon prince and their corresponding sinful domain. The first of them is Lucifer, who symbolized the original and most terrible of the 7 deadly sins, pride. Depending on their interpretation, Lucifer and Satan are interchangeable, and he is sometimes referred to as the devil. What is most likely accurate is that Lucifer and Satan are 2 distinct demons, with Lucifer's title being the devil. The most frequent English interpretation of Lucifer as a name for the devil in Christian theology is a translating of the Hebrew word Hallel in Isaiah, provided in the King James Version of the Bible. This version's translators borrowed the term from the Latin Vulgate, which translates to the morning star, the planet Venus, or as a noun, light bringer. The metaphor of the morning star, implied by Isaiah 14 verse 12, gave birth to the universal usage of the Latin term for morning star as the original name of the devil before his fall from grace, connecting Isaiah 14 verse 12 with Luke 10, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven, and understanding the passage in Isaiah as an allegory of Satan's fall from heaven. Lucifer was a fallen angel whose arrogance led him to believe he could govern heaven instead of the Most High God. As a result of his rebellion's failure, he was banished and stigmatized, a constant reminder of the perils that await those who allow pride to overtake them. Some believe Lucifer is the ruler of the 7 princes. The second demon John Wycliffe mentions is Beelzebub, the demon prince and the embodiment of envy. Beelzebub is a name originating from a Philistine god who was once worshipped in Ekron and was later accepted as a significant demon by several Abrahamic religions. The Canaanite god Baal is also related to the name Beelzebub. Beelzebub, often known as the Lord of the Flyers or the Lord of the Flies, is a flying creature. The name Beelzebub is derived from the Book of Kings, 2 Kings 1, 2-3, verse 6 and verse 16, where it is spelled Beelzebub, alluding to a Philistine deity. The term Baal, which means Lord in Ugaritic, was used in connection with a specific god's descriptive name. Different people have different ideas about what the name implies. It was long thought that there was a link between the Philistine deity and the cults of flies, referring to a view of flies as pests that feast on filth. This is supported by a Ugaritic passage depicting Baal expelling flies, which are the source of a person's illness. The term Lord of the Flies has been interpreted by Jewish academics as the Hebrew equivalent of labeling Baal a mound of feces and equating Baal's followers to flies. Beelzebub appears as Lord of the demons in the Testament of Solomon, an ancient pseudo-pagraphical text, and claims to have been a prominent heavenly angel affiliated with the evening star. He claimed to incite jealousy and envy in cities, as well as murders and the outbreak of war. The third prince of hell, and the most well-known, is Sathanás, or Satan, the Lord of Wrath. The Hebrew word for Satan is a generic noun that means accuser or adversary, and is derived from a verb that means to block or oppose. In Abrahamic faith, he is an entity that seduces humanity into sin or deception. In Judaism, Satan is seen as a servant of God. In dualistic antithesis to God, he is also viewed as a wicked being with detestable traits. Although he is not mentioned in the book of Genesis, Christians frequently identify the snake in the Garden of Eden with Satan. Satan tempts Jesus in the wilderness and is regarded as a source of sickness and temptation in the Synoptic Gospels. In the book of Revelation, Satan appears as a great red dragon who is destroyed and hurled down from heaven by Michael the Archangel. Later, he is chained for 1,000 years, but is momentarily released before being vanquished and sent into the lake of fire. In the Middle Ages, Satan was always portrayed as sad and unpleasant, with little actual strength. But with the advent and rise of witchcraft, Satan naturally became a monster that people hated. So much so that the church switched its attention from the other faiths and concentrated all its attention on Satan. Hello, hope you're enjoying the video. Please like the video and make sure to comment on what you think so far about it, as this goes a long way and helps support my channel. Now let's get back to the video. The fourth demon mentioned in the Lantern of Light is Abaddon, the demon prince of Sloth. Abaddon, which means destruction in Hebrew, occurs in the Bible as both a location of destruction and an angel of the abyss. Abaddon is an allusion to a bottomless pit in the Hebrew Bible. An angel named Abaddon is represented as the ruler of a swarm of locusts in the New Testament's book of Revelation, demonic abyssal ruler. Abaddon is also more of a natural force than a living being, as evidenced by the fact that his name can also apply to a section of hell, where sinners are thought to be encircled by snow and fire. Abaddon is one of the most dreaded supernatural entities in most literature, with angels, demons, and corporeal beings all dreading his name alone. It is unclear why John Wycliffe associates him with the domain of Sloth. Perhaps it's because he employs others to carry out his will. Mammon, whose name means money or material wealth, is the personification of the domain and sin of greed. Mammon is a notion in scripture that refers to money, wealth, and greed, rather than an actual entity. This began to change over time. It was during the Middle Ages that Mammon became more than just a concept. He was personified as a demon of greed in numerous works of art and literature, and some scholars began to classify him as one of hell's princes, who would enslave those who were driven by greed and the accumulation of wealth. Riches are called by the name of a demon, namely Mammon, writes Peter Lombard, because Mammon is the name of a devil, by which name riches are called according to the Syrian tongue. Belphegor is the sixth demon prince on our list today. According to John Wycliffe, he embodies the sin and domain of gluttony. Belphegor is a demon in the Kabbalah who assists humans in making discoveries. He seduces them by presenting brilliant, innovative ideas that would make them wealthy, greedy, and selfish. According to some, Belphegor was the patron of the Moab, a kingdom known to have existed along the eastern bank of the Dead Sea in what is now Jordan. He was a phallic deity connected with sex, orgies, and general depravity. Belphegor has numerous forms, selecting whatever one he believes will persuade his victims to accomplish his will, either as a beautiful woman, naked in all her beauty, to lure those who fall for his schemes, or as a terrible male demon with a leathery body, massive horns, long sharp fangs, fingernails, and a gaping mouth. The last demon on our list is Asmodeus, the demon prince of lust. As the demon of lust, Asmodeus is responsible for corrupting people's sexual impulses. It is stated that those who succumb to Asmodeus' ways will spend eternity in the second level of hell. Asmodeus is well known from the Talmud and the Deuterocanonical Book of Tobit, in which he is the principal antagonist. In the Book of Tobit, he fell in love with Sarah and prevented her from marrying anyone else. He also murdered 7 of her spouses on the night of their wedding, just before they could unite. Tobias, the 8th husband, was fortunate enough not to experience a similar fate. He was able to resist the demon by following the counsel of the archangel Raphael, about whom we also have a video on this channel. When Asmodeus came to see them that evening, the stench of the burning fish's heart and liver led him to flee, where he was subsequently bound by Raphael. According to one Talmud tradition, Asmodeus threw King Solomon over 400 miles away from the capital by stretching one wing on the ground and the other upwards. He then swapped places with King Solomon for a few years. Asmodeus ran from King Solomon's fury when he returned. In another passage, he marries Lilith, who becomes his queen. We have just looked at one categorization of demons. However, there are many other classifications of demons used by other scholars out there. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Also leave your questions and thoughts below. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.